Sylvia, Michael, the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office began an investigation this week after we asked about it. Their investigation revealed a high-ranking deputy was drinking and ran off the road. But when a colleague responded, no DWI test was done. Tonight, the sheriff's tightening up his agency's policies. This stretch of rural Highway 19 in East Feliciana Parish is where a high-ranking sheriff's deputy ran off the road 2 weeks ago. That deputy is the chief of detectives, Lieutenant Kevin Garrig. The incident happened on May 22nd.
We were told that he was at a restaurant and he had a few drinks.
Sources told the investigative unit a passerby called 911 to report the wreck. On Monday, the WBRZ investigative unit requested the 911 call from East Feliciana Parish. 2 days later, the dispatch told us no calls existed. Problem is, the sheriff's office already listened to it, and we responded giving them the time, date, and file number attached to that phone call, at which time they miraculously found it. Now the ordeal is the force behind policy changes within the sheriff's office.
The CAD call served as the notification that an incident happened, but there's many other incidents like that where there's not a report written. Now, as we talked about protocols, I think that's part of what the new protocol is going to be. In addition to notifying a supervisor, even if it's something that we wouldn't normally write a report on, we're probably going to put the protocol in that a report would be written because an employee is involved.
The night the incident occurred, a deputy was dispatched to the crash, which required Kevin Garrig's vehicle to be towed out of a ditch. The sheriff's office says Garrig was out with another deputy who showed up after the wreck. Despite 2 deputies being on scene, nothing was written down that night about the incident, which is why the sheriff says things are changing.
From here on out, if there's any call that one of our deputies are summoned to, that an East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's employee is involved in any way, that it will be a mandatory requirement for that deputy to call a supervisor, even if they're at home at night, and wake them up to determine at a higher level what is the appropriate action.
Action some inside the department want, going so far as to follow the deputy when he's off the clock and going out.
You asked the other day when we were talking, when you first brought this to us, was do we have an issue with it? Are we concerned about an employee drinking and getting behind the wheel? And the answer is yes. Yes. Now, there is a legal limit that determines whether someone has broken the law, but we're always concerned about them or anybody else getting behind the wheel and have been drinking.
Tonight, Travis says despite what happened, they could not prove that Garrig was ever over the legal limit, and the lack of notification and reports that were written were concerning enough for him to tighten up policies now. The sheriff says his deputies were interviewed along with the manager of the business that confirmed Garrig was drinking that night. He was off duty at the time this happened. Sylvia?